All right. Questions for Kevin?
Hey, Kevin, Tom Withers, Associated Press. Just curious, what was the first thing you did when you heard that Donovan Mitchell was coming to Cleveland?
Texted him, and then within 5 minutes we were on a FaceTime just talking. He was golfing at the time, but I'm glad he was in the middle of the fairway. He took time out and just we just had a conversation. Super exciting.
What does it mean to add a player of that caliber to this team that is clearly on the rise?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we were, especially after last season. I know we had injuries, but despite that, we felt like we were in a good place. We have momentum on our side. Culture-wise, just the entirety of our team, our makeup, the whole organization, we felt like we were in a good place. But you add somebody like Donovan, who has that experience, just turned 26 years old, is a star in this league. It just provides us the opportunity to take an even bigger step this year. He's somebody I've got to know through, just being in New York, working out in New York in the summer, but also, Joe Ingles, Jordan Clarkson, just being around those guys. Have had a chance to have conversations with him. I know what he's about. He's about winning. I know a fresh start is going to be good for him as well. But I'm excited to see what he's going to do with this team. I think he fits in really well with us, and just who he is as a person too is like I said, just fits with everything that what we're about. That next man mentality, give it up for the betterment of the team. He just fits with everything we're trying to do, and that's what makes it exciting.
Kelsey Russo, The Athletic. Hey, Kevin. After your role defined last season and just how successful you were, where are you coming into this season? What was the offseason like for you? And just what are your expectations for this season?
I think one of the biggest things Kobe wanted us to do was to make sure that we just stayed in touch. In touch. So we, just hit training camp off and running. I think that's the biggest thing. Obviously, just with some, with new faces like Donovan, we're going to have to, just play together. Time out there on the floor is going to be helpful for us. So there's going to be a lot of different lineups. We're going to have a lot of different looks, ways that we're going to play. But, I think overall for myself, just coming in with confidence, knowing who I am, having taken the spirit of this team, continue to build the culture within the locker room, on the floor as well. And then, again, just provide whatever JB and the coaching staff needs from me. I mean, I think, jumping into that six-man role and kind of understanding, where my minutes will be, who I'll be playing with out there on the floor, that I think from the start I'll be a lot more comfortable in doing that, just because I hadn't come off the bench since really my second year in the league. So, again, I think it's a different level of comfort, this being my ninth year here.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Hey, Kev.
Hey.
So with you guys last year, so much of it was the underdog mentality, off the radar. How do you view yourselves now that you have somebody like Donovan and two All-Stars and Jared and Darius?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have the makings of a team that could have four All-Stars, right? I think people know what we're capable of now. If we put it together, we aren't a team that's really going to surprise anybody anymore. I think people that have played us and coaching staffs and players from around the league know what we're about. So I think now it's just, taking that next level of maturity, knowing that there were some games last year that, we let some teams off the hook. Teams played really well against us. Of course, there's always going to be off nights, but understanding that we were, right there in playoff contention and, a team that could have been playing, basketball, what you hope into May and into June. But I think, obviously I truly believe with Donovan, stepping into his role, guys getting another year under their belts, having continuity within our lineup, it's just going to be, I think huge for us. I think health is definitely the biggest thing. And, obviously after last year with so many missed games with so many guys, that's what really hurt us. I felt like we very well could have been a 50-win team if everybody had stayed healthy. So I think we can't forget that. I think, we really have to still keep that chip on our shoulder. We haven't proven anything yet. We still feel like, there is that underdog type of mentality. I just don't think, really at this point we're going to, surprise teams, because you look at our lineup, we have depth. We can play a number of ways, and we got some young stars that are, I think, going to make a lot of noise this year.
What does it mean to have Ricky back?
It's amazing. That was, he's a guy I've, stayed in touch with, been friends with, been close to in this league for such a long time. I'm for me, selfishly, very, very happy to have him back. Because once healthy, he's a guy that really, I feel like, I really do believe he was the one who, encompassed everything that we were about last year. So, for myself and everybody, it was devastating losing him to injury last year. And, just having him back, I think is just that he just has that way about him, that quiet confidence about him that you know what you're going to get. And again, like building the culture here, he was such a big part of that last year. And even when he wasn't around, his presence was felt.
Spencer Davies, basketballnews.com. Kev, Kobe and JB were just raving about how Evan attacked the offseason. Just from your perspective, what are you looking forward to seeing the most from Evan in his second year, and how he can build off of that rookie season?
Yeah, I think just taking the next step for him, just with who he is, how he goes about his business. I think, having his brother, having Isaiah here, and speaking to his dad when we were together in LA, we know what he's about. We know what he's capable of. He hasn't even scratched the surface yet of really how good he can be, but all the signs are there, and he's not afraid of working. I was saying when I saw him in LA, when we were all there together, I thought, okay, he's going to make a big step. He's obviously been putting in the work. He hasn't been shy about showing up and putting the hours in, adding a little bit to his game. We know what he can do defensively, but the thing that stuck out to me was just, again, his size and his ability to be a shot maker and put the ball on the floor. I think he has the skill set to be able to do whatever he wants offensively. So, again, I think between, whether it be Donovan or Darius or J.A., Evan, we have so many young guys on this team that can do so much. But I think as a 7-footer, he's one of those guys that's like a unicorn, able to do it all now and be very special.
Annie Nikoloff with Cleveland Magazine. You've been in Cleveland a long time. I was wondering if you have any places that you take a new teammate when they come to town, or any favorite restaurants or places that you spend time here.
Let's see. I like El Rion. I like going to get pizza there. That's a spot I always take everybody. We drink some good wine. They take care of us there. That'll always be a staple for me. Always a place where I'm going to go. Outside of that, I'm not giving away my places where I like to go and find solace and quiet.
Marla Ridenour, Akron Beacon Journal. Yeah, Kevin, just what was the Nashville trip? What was your biggest takeaway? And how?
I wasn't there.
Oh, you weren't?
No. I was looking forward to that maybe more than anybody, and I couldn't make it. Lynn Merritt actually had his retirement ceremony that week, and so I was in Portland. So that was devastating for me.
Well, what does it say, though, that Donovan came just like on the heels, basically, of the big deal? Yeah, no, I think it's here. He wanted to get in there right away. He wanted to, be around the guys. Even when we're talking about Ricky. Ricky showed up, injured. He just wanted to be around everybody. Wanted to, feel like when we got to camp or we got here on media day that everything was going to just be off to the races. So I think, obviously, there's an excitement level around this team, even within the locker room. And I think just, Donovan being who he is, wanted to show up and put the time in and just get to know the guys better and be around us. And I just wanted to ask about Darius. What have you seen from him this summer to see him grow in the point guard role? Yeah, I think more than anything, he's really, as far as, I talked about Kobe wanting us to keep in touch and make sure that we're reaching out to each other, staying together, communicating. Darius has been amazing with that. I hate, it's funny for me saying these guys are young, but to be that age and to really take the reins and to be a leader, he's really stepped up in that way. And I think we saw flashes of that
last year, but he knows it's his team, and it's his team to run. And then you had Donovan, another guy that people are going to look to be that leader as well. So I think between those two guys, and that steady, quiet confidence about not only Evan but JA as well, I think those guys are going to really set the tone for us. And each and every person, and player and teammate around that is going to step in and do their work and feed off of them.
John Rutter, 92.3 The Fan. You touched on this new role that you've had this year and last year. What preparation goes into that? How much different is that preparation, and was there any adjustment period that you went through with it?
Yeah, last year for sure there was probably 6 to 8 weeks, just to as constant communication, finding where I could best fit within the different lineups, and understanding what it meant to be a six-man or a player coming off the bench, and also I think the guys allowed me to be myself as well. And play my game, understand where I could find my shots, rebound the ball on both sides of the floor, and just be effective. More than anything, again, like goals coming into the season, last season was to be available. I knew that if I felt good, and you're going to get banged up throughout the season, but if I felt good, that I was going to play well. So again, I think going into this year, my mindset really hasn't changed, and I just want to help these guys grow. Continue to get better, continue to win basketball games, and really that's, everything else will take care of itself.
Kevin, Hayden Grove of Cleveland.com. Good to see you. It's been 9 years. You're going into your 9th year. I mean, have you reflected on the journey that it's been since you got here? Have you reflected on just the fact that you've been here for as long as you've been here?
Sure. I mean, I used to not let myself reflect because I feel like you get complacent, and looking in the rear view. I'm typically my harshest critic and somebody that is reluctant to, give himself a pat on the back. But no, I think 9 years, there's something to be said for that, for sure. No, it's been amazing to see this thing, come full circle, and have a team that we were already excited about, but have a chance to win and win big. I think that everything is up for grabs and up for the taking for us, and I think that's what gets me most excited. I mean, this is year 15 for me, year 9 here in Cleveland, and I'm just excited to get to work with these guys.
Does this feel a little bit like when you first got here? Because kind of you had that the big three that was expected to go somewhere. Then you kind of had the lull period. What's going to happen? Now you're kind of entering a new era. Is that kind of what you feel like right now?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't want to say, I feel like once you say that you've kind of seen it all, that, something happens and you're like, okay, I was wrong. But I haven't been on a team where there's been like throughout the entire lineup, so much young depth and guys that are really talented, young and talented in this league. Obviously, between myself and Rolo being in our 15th year, and a guy like Ricky, just the vets, getting to play that role, but getting to see these young guys be special, that's new for me. And I'm having a lot of fun playing this part and doing that as far as being a veteran goes. But it's not, you don't always get something like this. So I think that's what, I kind of reflected on this past summer in terms of last year, was that, it's just, there's so much that, we said in the media room after the games, like you want to bottle it up. You don't want it to pass too fast, but time is fast fleeting. You just can't slow it down. You can't stretch it. It's not elastic, but no, this is what, it makes me, I've never had so much fun, going into work every single day. And now, as we get better, we're going to have more TV games, more focus is going to be on us, more attention. There's going to be that pressure, but that's when, you find out who you are. There's going to be adversity. That's when you find out who you are. So I think that's the thing that I'm looking forward to most, because I think that I know that these guys are more than capable and up for the challenge.
Thanks, Kevin.